welcome. You're watching Market Movers. I'm Priyank Lakhya, and these are the top headlines that we're tracking right now. China stocks rise in volatile trade even as trading is halted on 50% of the listed companies. Oil gains after a 5-day slump. Indian markets get off to a tentative start. Heavyweight Sun Pharma and L&T advance. Rupee flat even as Credit Suisse sees a currency falling to 66 to the dollar in 12 months. Well, we told you first, and now it's official. Russia's Rosneft inks deal to buy 49% in SR Oil's Vadinar refinery. The deal also includes crude supply agreement and SR's retail fuel pump network. TCS looks set to report a muted first quarter. Revenue may rise 5%, but profit is likely to decline on visa costs and wage hikes. Those are some of the key headlines that we're tracking right now as far as Qs are concerned. But in regard to the way markets have been shaping up, let's get a quick mention going there. They're actually trading a little soft now, down by 12 to 13 points in the Nifty. The Sensex also seeing a little bit of a cut. Just pull that one up for you as well. 30 to 33 points lower. And it's been a little bit slow today in light of the way the global volatility has been panning out over the last couple of days. All right, but on our stock radar today, we've got a whole host of them to watch out for. Yes Bank bouncing back in trade after a massive slump yesterday, up 1%. L&T's also got some bit of brokerage backing, almost 2% higher there. From the mid-cap space, Suzlon's trading positive after we reported that there could be some 1,000 crore worth of orders in the pipeline, and that could be announced by the end of this month, is what sources were telling us yesterday. Today, that stock's up 9%. Bhushan Steel up almost 20% after not for its debt restructuring. And Man Industries is trading positive as well today, 6% higher. Among the losers, TCS is weak ahead of its Q1 earnings, down 2.2. Tata Motors continues to somewhat move lower as well. It's the China impact probably there in regard to the JLR exposure. Vedanta, BPCL and Z are some of the other guys that are still trading in negative. In fact, we'll be discussing these stocks with our market experts, Ashish Maheshwari of Blue Ocean Capital on the fundamentals and Ruchit Jain of Angel Broking joining in on the technical stage. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time out today. Let's get straight away started with our counters that we're focusing on. Yes Bank is an interesting one. Yesterday, a brokerage note somewhat spooked the counter. It collapsed almost 7 to 8%. Today, though, it's trying to see some bit of recovery as clarifications came in, and some of the other brokerages also started to somewhat highlight the fact that this probably is still a counter that one can look at. But Ashish, what are you recommending clients to do? It's currently hovering around 807.
Yeah, in my view, like whatever the major reaction was there yesterday, once this UBS report came, is getting now priced in the stock price. Besides this, I think going forward, you are going to have various clarifications also. But in my view, damage is done now in the stock, and you may see this stock even correcting further at 780, 790 levels in short term. But in long run, I don't have those much doubt, what UBS reports has pointed out, because the data which they have took it from ROC site, and as we are in the industry, we know that data is slightly irrelevant. And the group names which were mentioned in the report also, where these concerns are still not there. So in my view, things are overdone here. Once the stock corrects slightly more from here, it should be added. In my view, this can bounce back.
All right, so buy on dip strategy as far as Yes Bank is concerned is what Ashish is recommending right now. And even as we speak, you're getting those official comments from SR Oil. Just a reiteration of what we've been telling you in regard to the Rosneft deal as well, as far as SR Oil is concerned, in regard to the way this entire development has been panning out. The stock's up nearly 1.3%, but in the last couple of days, the stock's been on fire, and you're getting the official confirmation on your screen right now of a story that you first heard right here on Bloomberg TV India. We're going to discuss that in detail as well in just a few seconds from now, as far as SR Oil is concerned. But Ruchit, in terms of technicals for Yes Bank?
Well, Priyank, I have two different views for Yes Bank for traders and investors. If I just first focus from a trading point of view, those who are short-term traders, I think from last 6 months, that is from the start of 2015, the stock is trading in a broad range of 760, 750 on the lower side, and again 888, 900 on the higher side. Now, in spite of the news, the news came at the higher end of the band, and the prices have started correcting from the higher range of 888, 90 levels. So, it seems that prices are again headed towards the lower end of the range. This range bound trading would continue for maybe next 1 or 2 months further. So those who are short-term traders, definitely it's not advisable to go long in this stock over here. Maybe this stock would correct further up to 765, 750 levels. So short-term traders should stay away from this stock as of now. There are better opportunities available in PSU banks from trading perspective, which we believe would tend to outperform in near term. Apart from that, those who are long-term investors, the weekly and the monthly charts are still good. There's still a high top, high bottom formation on those charts. So there's this corrective down move. It's not a need for worry for long-term investors. So long-term investors can still continue to hold the position in Yes Bank, whereas the traders should avoid long from current levels.
All right, that's as far as Yes Bank is concerned. Just pull up SR Oil once again and get a quick comment going on that one, as we're just getting those official confirmation in regard to the Rosneft deal as well. Ashish, is this something that you would be looking at, SR Oil at 191?
This stock has appreciated quite a bit from 120, 30 odd levels in one and a half month to 190 levels. And I think till the time of this formal announcement and the deal details comes in the market, because the valuation they are talking $6-7 billion. This the market cap of company is hardly $5 billion. So in my view, we need to slightly wait and watch, because today also, if it would have been a confirmed information, then the stock would have been traded more than 200 rupees, but hardly any reaction is there. So in my view, it's a wait and watch, and we should not jump on buying the stock for time being.
All right, fair enough. Wait and watch on this one. Ruchit, any technicals here?
Technically, there is nothing to observe on short-term charts, because it is already given a good decent up move from 100 to 180, 190. If I just observe the long-term weekly and monthly charts, then there is a rounding bottom pattern formation on long-term charts, and the higher end is around 190, 195 range, and the stock is trading currently near that range. So there is a quite possibility the stock would resist over here and show a minor corrective action from here. However, said that the trend still remains to be up, and fresh long portion should be taken only if the stock starts moving above 195.
All right, only above a certain level. It's already seen a decent breakout, is what we've seen on SR Oil as far as this count is concerned. All right, some of the other large caps then that are on focus. L&T is the other counter that we've been watching out for pretty closely. Let's get that up for you as well. Now, L&T is up almost 2% and has been one of the key support factors in the market today as well. Ashish, this one as far as L&T is concerned?
Yeah, in my view, there's slight revival in now capital good industry per se, and construction industry is also doing well. So L&T being front leader in this particular industry will get more momentum. So in fact, if you see in last few days also, the market was not that buoyant, but still L&T was holding its position. So in my view, L&T is a stock that we should add now, and ahead of results also we should add this stock. I'm expecting the stock can even touch 1900 ahead of results. So a good buy at 1840.
All right, good buy at the current level is what Ashish's view is when we talk about L&T right now. Could be a decent one to add ahead of numbers is what Ashish is working with right now for this stock. In fact, take a look at the 1 year chart up 11%. Pull out the YTD as well, because as Ashish was mentioning, stock's been a resilient play as well. If you look at the recent performance, 20 to 23% higher is what we've seen on a YTD basis. And on the technicals, let's just pull up the RSI for you as well. Up one's at around 67.67 is what we're seeing. So almost nearing that overbought zone, which is somewhere around 70. But Ruchit, what's your own sense when we talk about charts here? Is there still some more steam left when we talk about L&T, or you believe it could possibly start fizzling out?
So there's a high top, high bottom formation on the charts, and we have seen that in spite of markets, whenever last couple of months have corrected, this stock tends to show price time-wise correction by remaining sideways rather than price correction. So where the trend is good, trend is still up in the stock, and one should continue to ride on the long side in the stock. On the high side, we have seen 1800, 1900. It's quite possible in near term where the stock could go.
All right, continue to ride the tide is the comment as far as L&T is concerned. Probably some time-wise correction there, but otherwise it's still an upward trajectory. Is a view coming in from Ruchit on the technicals there as well. Today, stocks up 2%. In fact, talking about the engineering space, one mid-cap counter, Suzlon, from the renewable energy segment has been buzzing today, 8% higher, strong momentum. Remember, we were talking about this counter yesterday as well, where my colleague Swati had actually brought us exclusive details saying that the company possibly is in, or likely to announce orders worth almost 1,000 crores by the end of this month, and also probably could win 150 megawatt worth of orders from the state of Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, is what we were tracking yesterday. Stock's been extremely active today in the last 1 month also. It's up almost 14 to 15% is what we've seen as far as Suzlon is concerned. And any thoughts here, Ashish, in terms of Suzlon, if it's a good buy at 23.5?
Yeah, I like the stock, and but the only thing is this is a stock which is for long-term investors. If you are expecting some trading gains, this is not the stock for you, because day-to-day things won't happen here. Besides this, whatever financial restructuring company has done, it will take at least 1 year for results to come out actually. So in my view, at this rate, you can't go wrong in Suzlon, and the business environment is looking quite promising for renewable energy, solar or wind. So stock should be added at 22, 23 level, but only for long-term investment.
All right, only long-term is what one should be looking at. Suzlon, at least from an investment point of view, is what Ashish is saying there. You could possibly add at 22, 23 is the call on Suzlon here. But Ruchit, on technicals, what's the short-term outlook looking like for Suzlon?
Yeah, if you observe the recent past of this stock, then in the mid of February, the stock, after some news came in, it gave a gap up opening, and thereafter it gave a run up with quite good volumes. The stock has again corrected, and exactly from that gap area, it has started moving up. So according to those gap theory in technical analysis, that breakout gap which happened is now acting as a support. So probably that gap area which is around 19, between 19.5 to 20, that has acted as a good support for the stock. So in short term also, I am expecting the stock to move higher up to 28, 29 levels. So one can, even at current levels, one can create long positions, keep stop loss below 19 rupees, which would be the lower end of the gap area. And on the high side, expect 28 to 30 range in near term.
All right, 19 is your stop loss. You could still expect higher prices as far as Suzlon is concerned going forward from here. Is the technical outlook as well. So that stock up 8.2, 8.3%. In fact, one of the top mid-cap gainers in the market today as well. Talking about some of the mid-cap gainers, Bhushan Steel is in focus on the back of its restructuring nod as well. It's locked in an upper circuit of 20% is what we're seeing here. Ashish, any thoughts on Bhushan Steel?
See, first of all, I don't buy or don't recommend any stock which just goes higher on account of debt restructuring. Right. Because debt restructuring, etc. exercises just 1 day trigger, and next day onwards you are going to have same kind of thing. So in my view, they have restructured debt for 25-year tenure, and debt is still high, 30,000 crore kind of debt on which company is sitting with. And the kind of situation is there in commodity market, why we should buy such a stock. In my view, this stock will correct very soon. So we should not get lured with these kind of announcements, and it should stay away from Bhushan Steel and steel industry also.
All right, stay away from the industry, stay away from some of the restructuring names as well, as the advice from Ashish there. Ruchit, on technicals, I can understand today might be a little bit of a breakout on that sense, but what are the charts saying?
Yeah, probably for such stock, I won't see the intraday or daily charts. It's probably weekly, monthly charts, which suggest that lower top, lower bottom formation is in place from quite some time now. And till the trend still remains down, it would be advisable to avoid any kind of long positions in this stock.
All right, the RSI also just shooting up a little bit at 63.83 today as a result of the way the price actions panned out. All right, so that's as far as what we're tracking on Bhushan Steel there. But talking about some of the mid-cap names that have been buzzing on some heavy volumes today, Man Industries has been a counter, 7% higher. Yesterday you had some block deals take place on this counter as well, is what we were noticing, 7% higher in terms of trade today. Let's pull up a 1 month chart for you as well and get a sense as to how the price actions really played out for Man Industries. Take a look at that, 57, 58% higher is what we're doing. Ashish, when you see a chart like this, do you book out? Do you probably feel that there's probably more momentum, ride the tide, or you just avoid it?
Actually, I'm quite bullish on the prospects of pipe industry, and particularly these companies which are still having manageable debt and good business model. Man Industries came out with excellent numbers, if you recollect, in the March quarter and this quarter also. I am expecting good numbers. So if you see even the performance of Welspun Corp, which is also quite good, the stock has almost doubled in last 3-4 months. So in my view, now this sector is getting re-rated, and Mr. Ashish Gacholia did a 5 lakh share block deal yesterday, which shows that HNI investors are also now keen on investing in this particular story. So going forward also, I am expecting this stock even can touch 150 mark. So even a good buy at 118 on backing of sound fundamentals.
All right, Man Industry still looking good, 7% higher today at 118. Some of the high-profile investors entering the space as well is what Ashish is saying right now. And you've got good momentum on this counter as well. But Ruchit, on technicals here, how do you see Man Industries?
And technically, the stock has now started forming this high bottom formation. And one good thing that we are seeing in this, that with the up move, the volumes are also improving. So higher volumes are coming in with every up move. So this is a good indication from long-term point of view also. So one should continue to hold this stock if anyone is bought at lower levels. Although the momentum readings, RSI and all are in overbought zone, which generally happens after such sharp rallies. What we have observed in the past, that generally when such sharp moves are there, that RSI tends to remain in overbought zone for some time, and the price continues to move higher. So in short term, I think it's quite possible the stock would continue its upside movement, and 140 is where the next resistance is placed. So the stock could go further up to 140 in near term.
All right, 140 probably could be a level that one could expect on Man Industries. The 3-month chart is fabulous on this counter. Just pull that up for you again. It's nearly doubled in 3 months. 107% gain is what we've seen on this counter in just 3 months. So as Ashish also was saying, on the fundamental side, this one's been pretty active. You've seen some bit of change in the industry as well. A couple of its peers also have been faring pretty well. So one can probably look at it even at the current levels. All right, we'll take a quick break. Up next, we focus on some of the weaker names in trade today. TCS ahead of its numbers, Tata Motors on the China impact, along with Vedanta, which is somewhat suffering, and it's seen a massive market cap erosion in the last couple of days. BPCL and Z, predominantly from the large cap space, are the ones that are losing out. We'll get more perspective after this break. Welcome back. You're watching Market Moves on Bloomberg TV India. We've been in conversation with Ashish Maheshwari on the fundamentals, and Ruchit Jain from Angel Broking has been talking about a couple of the technicals that one needs to focus on some of these active movers. Let's start off with some of the losers in trade today as well. You've got TCS now that's been losing ahead of its numbers today. Ashish, what are you working with as far as TCS is concerned? What should one be watching out for? And the call on the stock as well.
Yeah, the stock is slightly correcting today, but I'm not that bearish on TCS.
Okay.
Because if you have to bet on IT sector per se, you need to just bet on first grade companies and Infosys, TCS kind of companies only. I'm expecting slightly weaker numbers than what market is expecting in terms of dollar growth. Like market is expecting 4.5%. I'm expecting around 4% on conservative side, because things are still reviving in US market. So in my view, this is a stock which should be added in correction. I'm not asking you to add that 2550, but if you get this stock at 2475 in correction, etc., should be surely added.
All right, so you're basically saying if there's any kind of an adverse reaction post earnings, it'll probably be a good chance to enter?
Yes, this will be a good opportunity to enter if any bad results are there, because in very short period, it has tendency to gain whatever ground is lost. So it can give you good alpha if you buy this on any such knee-jerk reaction.
All right, so if there's any kind of knee-jerk reaction, Ashish recommending this, saying one can probably look at it again. Ruchit, though, on the technicals, where do you believe will be the critical levels to watch out for on TCS?
Yeah, so if you just observe in recent past, whenever these IT stocks declare their results, generally the volatility is too high in these stocks, be it Infosys or TCS or HCL Tech. So when one is trading for intraday or from very 2 to 3 days perspective, such huge volatility one should generally avoid and let the trend be clear in the stocks. For long positions, 2525 is a crucial support technically for short-term trading. I am talking about next today or maybe next 1 or 2 days only. So if 2525 is broken, then we might see a sharp corrective action in the stock, which may lead the stock up to 2450 also, where the long-term support is placed. So if anyone is already long in this stock, then keep stop loss below 25 rupees. And if I get it around 2440, 2450, then I think that would be good level for medium to long term investors to buy this stock.
All right, so TCS there on technicals. Keep an eye out on this one. Numbers are slated to be reported post market hours today. You'll also be having the top management of TCS brief the media on the quarter gone by and some of the key highlights there. Press conference, remember, will be at roughly around 5:30 p.m. today is when you'll have the management, and in fact they'll be speaking to us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. N. Chandrasekharan, Managing Director and CEO of TCS, Rajesh Gopinathan, CFO and VP for TCS, will be speaking to us at 8:10 a.m. tomorrow, along with Ajay Mukherjee from the top management at TCS. All right, so that's going to be the big earnings stock to watch out for. But beyond that, there have been a couple of the counters that have been getting influenced by the entire China meltdown. Tata Motors also is one of those stocks that's been somewhat impacted in the last couple of sessions. We've seen a little bit of a dip on the counter as well, is what we've seen as far as Tata Motors is concerned. Today, I believe it's gone X as well today. But beyond that, it's down nearly 1.6%. And in the last couple of days is where you've seen the major sentiment impact coming in as a result of what's happening in China. Ashish, are you worried about these concerns on Tata Motors? What, one month it's down 10% nearly?
See, if you say Tata Motors, it has it touched 52-week high of 605 or 6 in the month of February. And from that level, like, stock has almost corrected by 200 rupees today.
Okay.
So I think whether China or no China, stock is in big bear grip. And this on account of, earlier it was poor sales of JLR in China, then there's some replica related news, and now on top of it now, this China development has come. And you can just imagine in a market where $3 trillion kind of wealth is eroded, from where they will get money to buy expensive JLR cars. So in my view, the impact will be seen in coming quarters also, as far as JLR results are concerned, because they constitute almost 75% of Tata Motors' top line, bottom line. True. So this is a stock to be avoided. In my view, how metal and commodities stocks are beaten down, Tata Motors will be also beaten down a stock, and we should not do bargain hunting even at this level.
All right, so totally avoid Tata Motors is the view that Ashish is sharing there in regard to this counter. Take a look at that. 1 year down 12 to 13%. But remember, as Ashish was saying, this one's actually been correcting from its top, is what we've been seeing from a 52-week high level on Tata Motors. Ruchit, quick technical thought on Tata Motors?
Yeah, technically, since last 3-4 months, the stock is has formed a complex corrective pattern.
Okay.
And probably, I think, since the momentum readings are much oversold now, so a technical bounce from current levels is quite possible. This 395 zone is also a support level. In if you see just last year November, it gave a breakout from that consolidation zone where the resistance was 395. So now this is expected to act as support. I am not advising medium to long term traders to start investing over here till we get any impulsive up move. But at least from trading perspective, one should not create any short positions at this level, and a trading pullback could be seen in the stock, wherein the stock could come up to 425, 430. I don't have aggressive targets on the higher side, but still 425, 430 could be seen in near term.
All right, gentlemen, fair enough. We leave it there. Thanks so much for joining in today, sharing your thoughts and perspective. Ashish on the fundamentals, Ruchit on the technicals there, and decoding strategies for a couple of these stocks that are actually moving in trade today. Well, markets also seeing a little bit of green, 8 to 9 points higher. The Chinese markets also have seen a stellar recovery, but don't forget that comes after a drop of almost 30% in a matter of weeks that we've seen. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Market Movers. Up next, we connect with the management of a buzzing counter. Sangam India, stocks up nearly 140% this year. We speak to Managing Director S.N. Modani on the world of mid-caps. Stay tuned.